It's another beautiful Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have my lovely co-host here. Hi, ladies.
Hello, Mariah.
Nima, what's up?
Nima wants to complain. I want to call the authorities' attention to the policemen along Lagos-Badagry Expressway, particularly at Finanger bus stop. In the dark, they are hanging at a corner. And what they do, when a car that is suspicious just passes by, you just give them something and they go back. This morning, it happened exactly again in my presence, and they just collected and went back to hiding. So if there was a crime about to happen, they would have aided that crime without, taking any precautions to prevent and protect people along the road. So why are they there at 6 a.m. if they're not doing anything to protect us? So please, Commissioner for Police, they are under Area E.
As a lawyer,
So
giving them
you can't,
feedback.
yes, you can't
No,
tell
you
them.
can't miss them.
How are you doing, Jumoke?
I'm doing very well this morning. Thank God for a beautiful Wednesday. I had I rested a little bit yesterday, but I had a meeting with Tope. She's planning good things and she's willing to pay. So she's my client.
That's good. That's good. So the event's coming up, the Sexually Confident
Yeah,
Woman too.
yeah.
We're excited about that.
amazing.
How you doing, Uwa?
Very well, thank you. Nothing major. I'm just happy for life.
I'm glad.
What about you?
Me? I'm good. Today, one of our colleagues, Mabel, she's not Aladdin, I think it's Adene now. She had a baby boy last week. So today is the naming. We're going to
She
a house
finally
today.
put to bed.
I did
She was
tell you,
looking-
Mrs. I did tell
She
you.
was looking like she was going to pop out triplets.
Yes, it was really big. So it was last week. So today is her naming. So we're going there, hopefully.
Nice.
I think All Road, I hope she's ready for
Congratulations,
TVC because All Road is leading to her house.
That's why I say yeah.
In time of recession.
Please, that's true. If you did not get an invite, please don't go because this is recession time.
Excuse me.
We don't, and I don't have
Where's the party
It's a
at?
Yoruba thing now to honor
Where is the party at? Tomorrow
It's
show.
not easy. I put them out there. Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Yesterday, though, my son won a medal, at least for the first time in what's it called, basketball. We did our first
Really?
sports fun day.
Oh, wow,
For some
that's
reason,
cool.
Instagram wasn't working. I wanted to show off my medal on Instagram.
Oh,
It wasn't
basketball?
working. Yeah, he did. They did
cool.
basketball, so he got a medal, and we did. It was fun. The sports.
Nice.
Usually we alternate. We do either sports fun day or we go to the stadium. So next year we're going to the stadium to go and run. So we bring medal my own.
So I have a question, and
What's
this is
happening?
very funny. It's okay to show off your medal on Instagram, but a lady who is very happy with her Valentine gifts, it's not so okay for her to show it
Why
off on
can't she?
Instagram.
Why?
Who has the idea?
Why can't the
When
woman
did
show
I-
off her gifts?
Oh, you remember saying that all the gifts
On
that you
Instagram.
saw on Instagram, that was it for Instagram.
And see, I don't
beg
believe
you.
in showing love on Instagram. People are advising women.
When you are showing your
Love.
trophies, that's
That-
showing
that's
your son
different.
love.
Trophy is
Okay,
different
that's
from
okay.
No,
love.
it's the same thing.
It's not the same
It's the
thing.
same
They are,
thing.
It's
they
not.
are very different.
It's
Mariah.
very
You are loving,
different. Thank you,
you are
Nima.
very
It's love. It's still show your love. Show us your Valentine gifts. You want to?
You want to go and hang, make
We
people
want
hang
to be
themselves.
happy.
Don't worry, I
behalf.
will order my own Valentine gift and post it myself
For
and say that
myself.
Thank
they
you.
delivered
I'm still waiting for my
it.
wristwatch. They never buy me wristwatch. I still they wait.
Morayo, you're such in a hurry.
I'm in a hurry. Abi. Maybe next year Valentine.
Don't
Dollar is
worry.
expensive now.
Valentine.
It's coming
Everybody
from
knows
abroad.
my husband. Let me beg him to buy me a watch.
We're even still expecting Nima's
He's gonna
car.
kill me like
I'm very hopeful.
We're expecting
Okay, we're sending your
our-
car.
I'm very
Abi.
hopeful.
Please, we know Mr.
How my
Zubiri.
car
She
is not
needs a
doing
car.
like this, so please.
Okay, let's take a break. When we return, we'll look at the front page of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Oh my God, welcome back. We're going to start with the punch. PDP, others react as Buhari says he needs longer time to rest. Saraki briefs Senate on UK meeting with President. Picture here, residents watching fishing activities at Kolo Creek River in Bayelsa State. Reps kick as presidency budgets 60 million for grass cutting in Northeast. Mr. Story. I was surprised. 3 dogs attack 5-year-old girl, damage eye and tooth. Whistleblowing. Blackmailers on the increase, says Oduahan. I was told Buhari's lawyer I was told Buhari's lawyer gave Justice Ademola 500,000 naira, says witness. PDP, I didn't endorse sheriff, says Jonathan. Budget faces hurdles as MDAs fail to provide details. NECO releases SSCE results. 60% pass English and mathematics. Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Well done, Nigerians. All right.
I wanted
So
to talk
the human
about-
angle.
You know, the reason I'm sure we skipped that grass story is because of the
Human
touchy
angle.
story. Yes,
What happened
on
with the
front
little
page of-
girl?
the young girl, her name is Aliyah.
Musaku.
Yeah, she lives with her dad. She used to live with her mom in Cotonou, and the dad brought her to stay with him rather. And his landlord traveled, and the landlord has a lot of dogs.
13
and
dogs.
he is obliged to feed the dogs while the guy is away. And this Monday he went to buy the dog feed and left the little girl in the house. So one of the dogs, Rover, let himself loose and went into the house and attacked the young girl, dragged her out of the house and took her to the back with 2 other dogs, and they feasted on the young girl.
Alsatians.
I mean, it's really terrible.
the
In
three
short, when
dogs-
when they arrived at the hospital, they thought she was actually dead.
Dead, yeah.
You know, they thought she was dead.
Okay, so neighbors heard while she was screaming. They thought it was her father beating her. When they realized that it was a dog, they said the attack went on for 2 hours.
Jesus Christ.
When they realized it was a dog, they couldn't access the house because the back door had been permanently shut. The front door had 10 other dogs
Jesus
in front.
Christ.
So they called the father. By the time he got in, he spent a lot of time looking for her. One of the dogs also attacked him, and the veterinary doctor they called. Now, the neighbors were very, very vexed. They killed Rover. And now the owner of the house, Alhaji Abdul Salam Suleiman, has said that they cannot attack him for this attack on the little girl because her father, Wasiu, was in charge of the
That's the
dogs.
problem.
But at the same
That's
time,
the
though, I think we need to regulate keeping pets in the house somehow. There has to be some kind of regulation. How do you have 13 dogs in one house? Does that make any sense?
You know, some people actually like dogs. I know people
They're
that
not
have
13.
But the
It's
thing
not- it's not a kennel
no, the
for-
thing is, make sure that the whatever it is
They're
solid.
well-fed.
They
There's
are
something
they are
they do
well fed. Very key.
They're
Well-fed,
well-fed.
because Wasiu said that the dogs were friendly with Aliyah. So
Yes.
that most times when visitors come and they are afraid, it's even Aliyah who goes to bring in visitors. They know her. So obviously
They're
hunger.
hungry.
All
right, let's
the
move
sad
on.
part of it is the father's negligence also. It's possible that he's culpable in the matter.
Let's
No,
move
but
in.
you
Moving
want
on
to
to
get
the
the food
nation.
now.
Unfortunately, we can't take that too far. Whistleblower exposes 8.4 billion naira fake bank account. Buhari to rest more in UK. INEC reports on Rivers rerun in Dykes Police and others. And I think there's some tears here from Libya, people returning from Libya. Okay, the whistleblower, who has that story?
Okay, whistleblowers blew whistle on this fake account with EcoBank that, you know, they've been secret deposits into that account is suspecting by politicians.
Yeah.
And the telecom company has come out to say, no, this money belongs to us. It's about 8.4 billion naira.
And they are still investigating.
They're still investigating.
And people returned from Libya yesterday.
There are still more.
There are more people coming.
Yes.
Goodness. All right, moving on to Vanguard very quickly. Don't expect me back yet. No cause for alarm. That's Buhari to Nigerians. Expresses gratitude for prayers offered on his behalf. Ikoku, Tav, and Musa Junai divided over Buhari's comment. Federal government orders telecoms company to list on stock exchange. Government rules out borrowing from IMF. Naira rises by 4 naira as CBN intervenes with $411 million. Buhari's lawyers gave Jose Ademola 500,000 naira during certificate saga, says witness. And Rivers rerun, election, INEC report in Dykes security agencies. Lots of stories in Vanguard.
3 stories quickly.
Buhari story.
Yes.
So finally, the test results have come out, and the president has further extended his vacation, saying that because of the findings of the test, he needs further vacation. This is the point where I like Nigerians to be, you know, unbiased and drop these sentiments. As much as I love the president, I supported him, I voted for him. I'd like to know whatever is wrong with the president. How serious is it? Is it necessary for us to worry? We have an acting vice president. Can we just, you know, trust in him to continue leadership and know that this, okay, our president is sick and is unavailable for now. You know this secrecy around it, the president's
I don't think
special
Nigerians care
aid will
anymore.
talk.
We don't,
This one will talk.
because
country is
somebody
moving on.
Somebody
No.
called me yesterday. I said, see, as we are right now,
Like-
we're already fine where we are. But let me explain something to you.
Let him rest.
We already know that if you are not fit medically to run a position, you should just step down.
Exactly.
That is all I want.
Exactly
Because
the
I mean,
point.
we should not
The
be.
constitution provides
I
for when
voted,
it steps down.
I stayed inside the rain to vote for President Muhammadu Buhari.
The
So I'm
Senate
saying that, you know,
should stop being biased. The constitution has a provision that when the president is ill or is terminally ill, they should do the due process.
And that's the sentiment they
follow
don't
the
want to
process.
get into, because they don't want people to start saying
That's the
they
problem.
will forcing him to step down. So
So
they're just
what
saying he's
PDP is saying
resting.
in the punch. PDP
So,
is, you know, this argument,
another
you don't need
story.
it.
There
Let's
are
be
two
clear.
other stories quickly.
The IMF or the
IMF story. So the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, is saying that Nigeria is going to take $2.3 billion from the World Bank and China, not from the IMF. And I'd like to quote her. She says, the IMF is really a lender of last resort when you have balance of payments problem. Nigeria doesn't have balance of payments problems per se. It has a fiscal problem. What this means is IMF has strict requirements to give any country a loan, and it borders on austerity. You have to cut back on your spendings and show us that you're serious. It's not for you to come and borrow money and be spending on salaries. So if Nigeria is unable to meet these requirements, we would rather go and toe the line of while waiting for China whenever they're ready to give us money.
Well, that's not what I read.
rather than tighten our belts and meet the requirements of IMF.
I think the tightening of belts in this regard, what she said from what I read, saying that what IMF is likely to ask us to do is what we're already doing, which is more reforms. And we've diversified already, and we're focusing on other sectors. So that's the main crux of IMF's requirements from us. And we're already doing that. So they don't need to go to IMF. They'd rather go elsewhere. That's what I understood, but it could be taken in a
But
different
that's
way.
not what I
Okay.
understood
All right.
from
So
it. Because
we'll read-
we had gone to IMF for a loan before.
Okay.
You know.
All right, moving on to Daily Sun very quickly. No other story in Vanguard. INEC panel indicts security. Okay, so that's the rerun in Rivers State. Defection, Andy Uba to lose Senate Committee chairmanship. Southern Kaduna crisis, 24-hour curfew imposes on 2 local governments. PDP crisis, Jonathan Minskwa Karfi denies endorsing sheriff. Ohaneze condemns killing of IPOB Masob members. Questions as Buhari gives notice to remain in London.
So INEC has indicted the security operatives in the elections in Rivers State,
Yeah.
and Governor Wike has been vindicated. They have found out that security operatives carried ballot boxes, used power and force to scare voters, you know. And so when Governor Wike was shouting out and it seemed like he was just making a lot of noise, now he has been vindicated, you know, via these investigations.
Interesting. Okay, moving on to this day.
First time.
PSS. Really? I didn't. Well, okay, let's.
We are reaching this day, first time this year.
Okay, PSS witness reveals Buhari's lawyer offered Just Ademola 500,000 naira gift.
That's a juicy story.
President's test results require him to stay longer in London. It's okay, we're fine.
How longer is
We
longer
don't
than
want to know.
indefinitely?
Let him
illness.
just relax.
Longer than indefinitely?
Our acting is
Cannot
already
be
acting.
vacationing on our
Southern
money,
Africa
on our
condemns
taxes.
xenophobic attacks on Nigerians and others. CBN pumps $500 million into forex market. Banks take up only $371 million. And report reveals how INEC officials mishandled Rivers rerun elections.
Justice Ademola.
Yes, who has that story?
All of us have the story.
Let Uwa go ahead.
Uwa, go ahead.
Fresh allegations.
Yes.
That President Muhammadu's lawyer gave Justice Ademola 500,000 naira. But they are saying that that 500,000 was supposed to be a gift for his daughter's wedding. Then some other allegations now came up. They found out that Justice Ademola's wife collected about 30 million naira, collected them 10 million in
Received.
tranches,
Didn't collect.
and she received rather. Then also he also received a BMW that is worth 8.5 million through his son. You know, so that's
That from different people, different cases he was
different
handling.
cases he was
Yeah,
handling.
okay, all right.
And this happened between March...
2016.
March, it happened all in March anyway, 2015,
2015.
just before the elections. And the case in front of him at the time was the president's certificate. Now, the lawyer, Joe Aggie,
Call-
Joe
no.
Aggie.
Joe Aggie,
Okay.
who gave the gifts, was the one representing the
No,
president.
Kola
no.
Adeawodeyin
It was
is the
Kola
lawyer
Adeawodeyin that is the one
of
representing
Buhari's
the
lawyer.
president.
Yes.
Agi is the one that is being
Blowing
co-prosecuted.
the whistle on the
Yes,
lawyer.
yes, the
That-
whistle
that-
on
So
Ademola.
it's Agi who is
Whistling
exposing
Ademola.
Odeyin,
Odeyin.
who gave the gift
To, yes,
Ademola.
Ademola, yes.
Was saying that at the time Odeyin was representing the president
Yes.
in front of Justice Ademola, and we have ethics, of the profession. Help us here.
Yes, so we have ethics of the profession. That is where my concern is. The Justice Ademola himself should be aware that he has to act in good faith. I don't know, I don't want to conclude this matter before the court, but I think he should have acted in good faith.
No, you're doing wedding for your daughter, and they give you 500,000 naira.
If they give you
How is
500,000,
that? How does that?
Why
How does
you
that?
are-
They give you
Than
500,000.
setting
You can
gifts.
turn your back towards certain things.
500,000
Especially
is
when
1 million. You can turn your eye to those certain things.
500,000 is reasonable, but 30 million
30
naira.
million?
No, that's from a different source.
BMW, that's another. That
different
one was not for the wedding.
Yeah.
But when you are a Nigerian judge who is a fatly fed judge already, you know how our Nigerian judges,
Yes.
we feed them fat.
Yeah, certainly.
You can close your eye to 30 million to 500,000 for your daughter's wedding. I think you can do the wedding by yourself.
Exactly. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come
content.
back,
There are
our
no
hot topic.
allegations, so.
Our hot topic today is what we read in the papers. I think last week, the Emir Sanusi was proposing to introduce a law restricting polygamy. So, we wanted to hear your thoughts on it. So, we'd like to take your calls. And later, we have our personality profile in the building. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, according to reports, the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi, has said that he will try to introduce a new law which will place a restriction on polygamy as it's connected to poverty, terrorism. He said that those of us in the north have all seen the economic consequences of men who are not capable of maintaining one wife, then marrying 4. They end up producing 20 children, not educating them, leaving them on the streets, and they end up as thugs or terrorists. Now, what are your thoughts on this? It's your view. Call us on 070-80-668-014. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so you can read the tweet. The reason why I wanted to start with Nima was because I felt that the only requirement from the Quran is for you to love them equally. I wasn't sure about being able to take care of them.
No, it's important that you're able to take care of your family.
But is that stated in the Quran, or is it just about
now,
developing them
the
equally?
Quranic verse that the men are Qawwamuna 'ala Nisa, that is, they are the protectors of the woman. So you cannot just bring a woman into the house and that local, like they say traditionally, and then abandon her to fend for herself and children. You are
Okay, so-
exposing her to infidelity, you are exposing her to a lot of things, and that is wrong Islamically.
Okay, so let me pause you there. Let me come to Jumoke.
And I love Emir Sanusi. He's a man after my heart. But before I say if I agree with him or not, I want to bring a controversy. You see, we had a bill, gender equality bill, in the Senate, right? And the Sultan of Sokoto at the time said, no, we don't need a law for gender equality because Islam already provides gender equality for the woman. She takes half of her father's property. Her brother takes twice because he's going to take care of the family. So now we're saying that an Islamic injunction that says if you can afford to take care of 4 women, marry not more than 4. We're now saying we want to put a law that if you are poor, who determines who is poor? I'll give you a typical example. Now, a northern guy, a lawyer, he was in law school. He was very poor. His community put together the money to take him to law school. He would soak his garri in the morning. He couldn't afford to drink it with groundnuts and sugar. He would come and when it has soaked well at night, he'll come and one of his roommates, now they were still receiving money from home, now said to him, Baba, if I give you 500,000 naira now, what will you do with it? Baba said, Wallahi, if you give me 500,000 naira now, I'll marry second wife. He already had a wife and 2 children. He could hardly feed himself.
So-
when somebody was preferring to give him money, the only thing he could think about was to marry a
So,
second wife.
Buhari-
Who would say to Baba at that time that he's too poor to marry a second wife?
that's what he
The
should
point I'm-
change.
The point I'm driving
Okay.
at, why is it that it seems like we're undecided when to, Nigeria is a secular state, when to, should we go the religious way or should we take the tenets of
But do you understand the objective of the emir in proposing this?
Let me explain
Because
to
he
Jumoke.
feels that that's one of the
Let me
things that can
explain
help
to
us cut
Jumoke.
down on terrorism. Yes.
The example she just cited is an abuse of the laws that we have. The emir himself in this report said, we will make sure that the legislation compels them to go according to the Sunnah and the Quran.
Okay.
Now, the Quran has already provided these laws, but we have people who always abuse religion in every religion you want to look at it. They abuse the rules of religion and do their excesses. Instances of such abuses is polygamy, and it's very prevalent in the north. The emir himself had said over time that it is lack of education that has brought about this, because you have women not even being informed that Islamically they are protected to make those choices personally. They will now go and wait behind and say, okay, because he's my husband, he's my protector. That is until he's willing to make the decision for me. That is not Islamic. Islamically, women are empowered. We are more than empowered to do things. And the example is me sitting here,
And
taking decisions
that's
for
one of the
myself.
reasons why the
emir
emir was
is
talking
saying,
about gender equality. He mentioned
yes,
that. I
now
wanted to
gender
touch on
equality
that.
under the bill that Jumoke was proposing would have had a lot of conflict of laws. If the emir, being someone that is sound in Islamic law, is saying, I will propose a bill, I want to believe that he knows exactly what he's doing, and I want to agree with him that because polygamy is one of those things you can legislate upon. Ijma and Qiyas are sources of Islamic law that have, allowed people over time to legislate upon these things. If a person, for instance, marries an underage in Islamic law, a person that is underage, that without her consent, that marriage can be annulled. So that is, allowing the law.
That sounds a bit conflicting.
Yes,
because we've heard
without
of
her
14
consent.
without our own
marriage
consent.
without her consent,
Okay.
that
so
marriage can be annulled.
You can marry a 14-year-old with her consent.
If she has, Islamically, what is the age of maturity is different from yours. And if you go to the US, the age of maturity is also different from what we have here. It's not 18 years.
It's 16.
It is not 18. So if a 16 years is willing to
What
marry
of
and gives her
14?
consent,
What of
should
14?
that be your problem?
What of 14?
In every country around the world, there's marriage,
Okay,
maturity
let's not even
age,
go there.
They differ.
That's a different issue. Yeah, let's not go there.
Entirely.
But let's come to Uwa.
Now you can, the emir can go ahead and legislate, but it should be guided by the Quran.
He's
and the
proposing
Sunnah,
it
that's all.
to the state government
Yes.
also. But yeah, but go
I
ahead.
want to bring up the issues he raised. He brought up issue of what? Terrorism and what?
Gender equality.
Poverty.
And poverty.
Poverty, yes.
I want to take on the issue of terrorism, and I want to take it from the angle of parenting. The truth is that I would say do not even give birth to a child if you know you do not have the emotional capacity to handle the emotions of that child. So it's not a function of whether you can financially take care of that child. A lot of children are being born today that the parents have financial muscle to take care of them financially, but emotionally, the thing that would make a child go into that line thinking of killing somebody, it is not on a physical level. So I think for us in Nigeria, we should start advocating for proper parenting, where we say that, okay, this child is a human being, and you give the child the complete feeding emotionally that that child deserves. A lot of, the young man that we met that had the incident of an airplane that took a bomb, what's his name?
Abdul Muttalib.
Yes.
Is his father not wealthy? So it's not
Rich
a function.
man.
It's not a function of saying that poverty actually drives terrorism. It is not poverty. It is more of poverty from a mindset place, like somebody that
Mariah.
the mind has been captured. It is not necessarily. I understand the point that
Who are
okay,
to
there are a lot
support
of
you?
there are a lot of almajiris on the streets in Kano in the north. You can easily pick them up. But I think it's more of we should fight this battle more from a place of the mind, because a poor man, Mariah, can decide to go farming just to train the child if he understands the importance of that child getting the right
Right
training.
values.
Okay, all right.
So I wanted to jump in. You see, Uwa always says on this table that we should change the culture. So Baba's example that I used, he's a lawyer, he's a learned man. But the culture that he knows is that if he can afford to take care of 4 wives, he should marry more women. So how do you, so we are going to be targeting poor people and illiterate if you say let's
I
change the
think
culture. But when their learned people are even thinking like that because of their religion, my point on this issue is, what do we want to take? Is it the religious tenets? So,
Or secular.
or secular. So are we saying that let us have laws that govern? Because you are saying that we already have laws that govern gender equality in Islam. But what Islam says, you are now saying some people are interpreting it wrongly. Or let us now bring in a law to say we must compel you once you are poor. You can't marry more than one wife.
There are several Islamic countries in Asia who have legislated on marriage and polygamy. You can Google them. And the reason why you have such legislations is where there are abuses of religion. Now, a religion is something that is, when it is not law in a community, it is strong, yes. Even in Nigeria, for instance, if it is not codified, like we don't have in the constitution, people would have abused hijab. So if we had such protection under law and people are compelled, that are guided by that law, that is where you can say they cannot cross it. Now, if a person should legislate for them, not taking into consideration their social way of life, that person will also be doing them a disservice. If, for instance, in Malaysia, where they legislated on marriage, polygamy, and said, until the wife can ascertain the financial capacity of the husband. Malaysia and Indonesia, where if the woman that is marrying a man cannot ascertain whether the man is able to take care of him, that marriage should not allow a second wife to be brought into her home. Okay. Such legislations can be brought to Nigeria to control these abuses. That's all.
Let me take this call from Kwara State. Bayero, are you there? Oh, I'm sorry. Now let me bring out this point. Let me bring out this point. I think the Emir's focus really is on education of the girl child.
So empower people.
He pinned on that. Hang in there. He pinned on that a lot, especially saying, suggesting that people should, instead of building multiple mosques across,
yes,
they should build schools, or even convert some, or even doing some of the mosques during the times that there's no prayer going on. Let us start educating the girl child. The objective really is for when people are more educated, they tend to actually now decide on the issue of polygamy, that they learn to be able to reason for themselves that, do I need a second wife? If I were a rich man who is culture, whatever he's exposed to, is take 2-3 wives. When you're educated, you can then think rationally to say, okay, I can't afford to. You can now think the way who is thinking, where you can now rationalize getting additional wives.
So the
focus from the Emir is education.
Exactly, the issue of culture that Jumoke was saying, that even educated people still see the culture as their way of life, and when they have small money, they want to marry.
This is a lawyer that I'm talking about, so it's not an illiterate.
What Mariah is saying and what the Emir is saying and what you are saying are even in line, because with education over time, then we can change culture. Okay. With exposure, people would change over time. With time, it will happen.
Okay, let's quickly take tweets. Freeman says, Sanusi is learned and has the betterment of the people and the nation at heart. Is another measure of reducing poverty. Olatunji says, I think it is necessary for both parents to come together and decide for themselves. Ogbera says, if truly implemented, this would be the best thing ever to have come out of that region, and kudos to the promoters. David says, I love the Emir for his boldness, but at this time, he can be two-faced, but I support him on this issue. Fights Against ISIS says, you know the Emir of Kano is a fantastic man and he is right. How can a man train 20 children, for example? Impossible to be. Last one, Alexander Osinde says, on the side of moral, it's ideal, but they have to review their laws to avoid infractions.
Yes. No, I just wanted to quickly say that it is not peculiar to the North. Because even in Niger Delta, you have a lot of, I have a friend that they were like 24 children. So the father would just pick, my parents too, even my grandparents were polygamous in nature. He had about 15 children. So my point is, let's stop breeding children that we are not ready for. People keep asking me, you're not going to have a, I said, the truth is that for a child to grow and be a responsible child, to be a complete child, that child needs both your money and your mind and your presence and everything. So we should start paying attention.
Polygamy across Nigeria should be regulated.
Yes! They should start paying attention to the peculiar need of that child. If you cannot Mariah, if you cannot dedicate your time 100% to a child, then you don't have any business bringing a child to this world.
But I've seen people who have had 10 children and all of them are doing well. And they're all doing well.
That is because we have the time.
So we're a secular country. We should decide if all our laws will take into cognizance our religious tenets. And so let us just have one law. Let's not be confused. Today you say no, Islam has it. No, tomorrow you say no, let us bring a law.
Yoruba culture. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, our personality of the month takes the couch. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. The last one we had Adedoja Allen as our personality. This month we have Zara Zakaria Abdul Karim. She's a business strategist and social entrepreneur. She is a wife and mother whose passion for social development, human capacity development, and inclusivity has endeared her to pioneering many initiatives for the local community, both home and abroad. She's also an inspiration to a lot of Muslim women. Welcome to the show, Zara.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can call us on 070-8066-801. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Now, one of the reasons why we brought you on is because you are you're a great young woman doing great things. You're Muslim, and a lot of people see a Muslim woman in hijab, and they always have this prejudgment. Recently, we talked about the hijabites, or how women wear hijab. And it was key for us to bring you on to show that there are women like you, educated, smart, intelligent, doing great things. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into what you're doing right now.
Thank you very much. So my name is Zara. I'm a business strategist and I'm a social entrepreneur. My background is in strategy and operations. I worked for Deloitte in the UK as a consultant. I've recently moved back to Nigeria, and I'm working currently on creating my training platform for young entrepreneurs, because I found that Nigeria, there's so many young entrepreneurs, so much talent, and there's a lack of support for people who can't necessarily afford the consultancy of a big firm, for instance. And I would really love to teach people how to find success in their business, but not just their business, also their personal lives. That's very important to who I am and what I teach, to being holistic. How can you find success in your personal life, in your marriages, in your relationships? How can you find success in your business and your profession? And how can you positively impact the society with that? So it's not just about you, it's also about how you can positively give back to the society. So we kind of fuse those three things in our trainings.
You know, for someone as power packed, I'll call it like, you know, as you are, how was it choosing a partner? Because it's very key to find a life partner that would not alter your vision and the plans that you have. How was it like choosing your partner?
It's actually a very interesting story. So I met my husband, and within 3 weeks, 21 days exactly, we were engaged.
Wow.
Yes. So from the first time of Salaam Alaikum on BBM to coming to see my dad, it was exactly 21 days. And for me, that people find that really shocking, but for me, it was about being sure of what I wanted.
Thank you.
And before I decided I wanted to get married, I went through a lot of meeting people, not working out and whatnot. So by the time I was at that point, just graduated, I was very clear about what I wanted and what I was looking for in a husband. And I was very clear about who I am, and what I won't take and what I will take. So because of that, we initially, so within the first 3 days, you know, you now know about me, I know about you, you are someone I see myself marrying. I kind of threw it to him.
Yeah.
Can you see yourself marrying me? If not, let's stop this conversation now. Because I had been burnt in the past and I was not ready to, you know, I call them chicken wing boys, that, you know, they're not serious. By the time you invest so much in the relationship, okay, come and see my father, you don't see them again. So by that point, I think I was, you know, it's just God's plan, really, that we hit it off. And also, it just happened again that, you know, his family knew my family, so there wasn't any issues with the parents. It was like, oh, okay, oh, yeah, I know his dad. Oh, okay, oh, yeah, I know his dad. And my dad said to me, so when do you want to get married? When I told him about him, I was like, oh, so when do you want to get married? And I was like, so if we were going to do this, when would you want to get married? I was like, okay. And, you know, within 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Revealed was a program that you co-presented in the UK.
Yes.
And it was aimed at, you know, breaking stereotypes against Islam.
Yes.
Tell us about it. What led to
So
it?
Revealed, I was a presenter on Revealed, and this was I think I was about 16. So you know, a young group of people in college, university, coming together to really challenge some of the issues we had, because around then, obviously with 9/11 and the 7/7 attacks as well, and even everything that we're seeing now, there's so much negativity around Islam. And we were just a bunch of young teenagers who, you know, every day you go out and you're faced with that, and that becomes your reality. And we really wanted to show people that, look at us, we're young, we're doing different things. You know, I'm in university, I'm studying economics. You know, this is my friend, he's doing photography. We're just normal teenage kids. These are the issues that are important to us. We spoke about, you know, boyfriend-girlfriend issues, you know, the hijab, you know, the things that every normal teenager would you know, go through.
Now, how did you decide on your career path?
Yeah.
What exactly got you into that? Tell us about that.
So I would say that my father, I'm really, really lucky and privileged to have parents who, as you were saying, invested in us.
Okay.
I think I say it all the time that I am here today, I'm a product of my parents.
Okay.
And we moved, I was born and bred in the UK, and our family moved back in 2000 when I was 9 years old. And the first big decision, I said this, the best decision that my parents made was moving us all back together. Because what you find is
to Nigeria?
to Nigeria.
Okay.
They leave the children behind.
Yes. They send the children to boarding house, go and live with an uncle or auntie that you don't know, or a grandparent, and those children then feel abandoned. And going to Nigeria then was a punishment. You know, they use this as a threat. I'll send you to Nigeria if you're bad. But we all moved together as a family. That was the first good thing that they did. And from when we were young, we were reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, Who Moved My Cheese. We had weekly family meetings. Yes, I didn't even know what it meant, but he would make us read it. We had weekly family meetings where we talk about our week before, what went well, what we could have improved, what we would like to do next week. So all the time you're constantly planning and thinking and reviewing. I always say the story as well where we were, me and my siblings, top of our classes, high flyers, you come home with a report of 95%. My dad is not going to tap you on the back. He will say, what happened to that remaining 5%? He will say, have you done your corrections? He will say, if you do the exam again, will you get 100%? By that point, we just want to run out of the room. But all of that, growing up, we were like, oh, this is so much stress. But now that I'm an adult, now that I have my own daughter, I can then reflect and see that those are the things that have made me who I am today. So with regards to my career path, I'm very multifaceted. I'm interested in so many things. Because I'm academically able, you know, I had to go down the university, and I'm Nigerian. I had to go down the university route, but I'm also very creative. I did art in school. I started my first business, which was a clothing line, while I was in university at the age of 18. And if I didn't have the guidance of my parents, I would have gone to fashion school. Not that I would not have been successful in that, but my dad said, you can do your fashion on the side, but go to school, get your degree, you know. So I went and studied economics, because I thought, okay, economics is open. I love business. I don't really know what to do. But he gave me that guidance.
If I bring in Jumoke, I know economics is like the reigning thing now because recently when Trump got in, we found out that Trump read economics. He made sure all his kids read economics. Everybody around him read economics. They went to the same school, University of Penn, and I was like, okay, what's this thing about economics? So I have a few friends saying, I'm going to make sure my kids study economics. So it's really interesting that you read economics. And let me come to Jumoke.
I was going to start but you've answered most of the question on how did you choose economics, and is your passion for teaching and empowering people because of your background in economics. But you're a Muslim lady. I wanted to go back to gender equality and how you are empowered because your father thought that education was so important. He didn't think that if you have a choice at 14 or 16 or even 18 to say, you know what, I'm done. I want to go and marry. What do you?
I did want to get married actually at the age of 16.
So what happened?
So as a young Muslim, the only way you can be in a relationship that is legal in the eyes of God and man is to get married. And we're young, we have hormones, you know, we're attracted to the opposite sex. And so that is the institution by which it is allowed for you to engage in that relationship. So I wanted to get married at the age of 16. As I said, there were too many chicken wing boys that were not serious. So I didn't find somebody who was serious-minded, but I was looking. So as soon as I finished, and I kept looking, and as soon as I finished university, I was lucky enough to find my husband, that we clicked. So I think that the issue of marriage is really about whether you're ready, and that's one thing I always say to young women.
So would your father have allowed you if you found someone at 16?
Perhaps. I'm not too sure. Perhaps. I must say that I'm quite a mature person. So my dad is very rational, very, very logical. So if you can convince him that other things will not suffer because of it, these are the reasons why, you know, and you can make your case. It's not just willy-nilly, you know, you can make your case, then I'm sure he would have found reason to. But what I found is that a lot of people are not actually ready to get married at that age. You know, the only reason why a lot of people want to get married is because they want to protect against, you know, sex outside marriage, you know, unwanted pregnancies, and all the things that we're seeing
Forget about the
in our
other irresponsibilities that come with marriage.
That come with marriage. So
Yeah.
everyone's too focused on the let's be in a relationship that is lawful in the eyes of man and God, which is righteous, which is good, but we're forgetting that there's so much that comes with marriage. So a lot of marriage counseling is actually needed for young women, in particular. Yeah.
Zara, you started the Umufaria network.
Yes.
Tell us about it and why you initially wanted to go to create a postpartum support group for women.
So I suffered from postpartum psychomania after I had my daughter, just because of mismanagement of care after I gave birth to her. And coming out of that experience, I was in a trance, you know, for a good month afterwards, you know, what has just happened to me. And I'm so lucky to have had the support of my family and my friends. And coming out of that experience, I thought to myself, particularly for Nigerian women, whereby you come home from focused on the let's be in a relationship that is lawful in the eyes of man and God, which is righteous, which is good, but we're forgetting that there's so much that comes with marriage. So a lot of marriage counseling is actually needed for young women, in particular. Yeah.
Zara, you started the Umufaria network.
Yes.
Tell us about it and why you initially wanted to go to create a postpartum support group for women.
So I suffered from postpartum psychomania after I had my daughter, just because of mismanagement of care after I gave birth to her. And coming out of that experience, I was in a trance, you know, for a good month afterwards, you know, what has just happened to me. And I'm so lucky to have had the support of my family and my friends. And coming out of that experience, I thought to myself, particularly for Nigerian women, whereby you come home from the hospital and your mother-in-law is saying she wants amala, and your sister-in-law is saying she wants rice, and you have to cook for her, or your mother-in-law is putting rub in your baby's bum. The trauma, no, these stories are real. The trauma is so much.
I got to put you on a quick break. Let me pause you. I mean, this is really interesting. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so continue the conversation at the postpartum depression that women go through.
Yes, so I found that there were so many women who didn't have that support. So I created the Umfariha Network as a support group online initially, and after the first month it was such a hit that other women were coming and saying, it's not just about mothers, what about us, I'm a wife, I'm not married yet, and whatnot. So we went offline, and we rebranded as you know, a network for nurturing women of virtue. And we have 4 segments. We have the daughter segment. So this is about supporting, you know, young girls who have just hit puberty, trying to find themselves and their identities, you know, that pre-marriage state. Then we have the wife segment. So, you know, you're now ready to look for a husband, looking for a spouse. You know, that everything that I was saying before about the counseling, are you actually ready? And now that you're in marriage, you know, newlyweds, we know how it is. Yes. You know, marriage is not what you think. So a lot of people are ill-prepared for the realities of marriage. So we have a Wifey Wednesday segment on the blog, and we talk about real issues that people usually cringe and shy away from. And then we have the mother segment and the inner you segment.
Let me take this call from Rukayat. Rukayat, are you there? Rukayat, are you there? Oh, we lost that call.
So in one word, you do photography for henna parties.
Used to.
You used to. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Then you still have the online clothing store.
So I've rebranded the clothing store into a modest fashion strategy and branding outlet. So supporting, you don't need more fashion designers. There's so many in Nigeria. Now let's you know, actually get a good business strategy in place. Let's work on your brand. Let's work on your social media and digital marketing strategy, promotion, how to get your products out there.
Great.
So that's under Modest Fashion Nigeria.
Yeah, but are we targeting the people that would dress the Muslim, or we're targeting every fashion?
We're targeting every fashion outlet, but in particular Modest Fashion.
Okay, fantastic.
We have a phone call.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Olatunji, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, yeah, morning.
Morning,
I'm from
Olatunji.
Sankola. Yeah,
Welcome.
Yeah, I just want to contribute and greet you, ladies, for a wonderful job you are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, Zara,
Yes.
what is of most concern to me is I'm impressed by the much that you're able to achieve because your father allowed you to be educated and your husband is not holding you back. You know, you knew what you wanted before you got married. There are a lot of people, and a lot of them Muslim wives, who are third, fourth wives, who are just being hidden. Like underneath the bed, the husband is saying, no, they cannot see you, no, you can. So a lot of potential in women, young ladies like you, that is buried inside marriage. How do we bring out women and say, no, being an hijaber does not mean that you must be locked inside the house. You can still express yourself. God has put in you a lot of skills and talents that you need to express to the world. How do we tell people that?
I think it's what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Is being on a platform like this and giving the opportunity to address women. I think one of the big issues we find, and this is why personally with what I'm doing now with Essence, we profile successful individuals, Muslim women, people who normally you don't see them. They're there. There are lots of us. For the number of people who are there hidden, there are people out there doing things, but the traditional media outlets and whatnot, they don't carry these stories because it's not the fashion is Muslims are terrorists. That's the narrative. So it's really up to us
to tell the story.
To change that narrative.
Okay.
Tell
There
our
are
own
people,
story.
yes, exactly.
Let me take this call from Kwara State. Bayera, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Morayo, please, I will try to drag you back a bit.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm there. I will try to pull you back a bit.
Go ahead, Bayera, please. Go ahead. We're listening.
You see, issue of maybe the issue you were discussing, the first
Emir of
time.
Kano, yes.
You see, the issue of giving back to children, the Northerners, very sorry to say, it's not that they give back to take care of children. You know, it is what you doesn't like. You throw it away. If they give back to children, it's not that they need those children. They throw them away completely.
Really?
It is you that know the value of child. You now pick those children. Those Almajiri, come to our area and see. They sleep anywhere.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's disheartening completely.
Thank you very much,
That is-
Bayera. So we can understand why the Emir is making this kind of suggestion. All right.
So what are you working on currently?
Currently, so I'm currently building my business strategy practice called The Essence. We run business strategy sessions for young entrepreneurs and SMEs. We do those monthly across Nigeria, Lagos. We've had Abuja as well in December. I also do Muslim lifestyle events because I said it's very important for us to change that narrative, to show people an alternative way of living and expressing themselves, to profile successful individuals. And really the theme of our symposium, we have a symposium coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at the Lekki Central Mosque. And our theme is raising aspirations and fostering excellence. Raising aspirations first, because I totally agree with what you're saying. Too many people are in this hole and they think the reason why they stay in that hole is because they believe that their religion requires it of them. And that is incorrect.
So do you support the
They should
Emir
first get the knowledge.
on polygamy?
With regards to polygamy is a very sensitive issue, and it's not something that just affects the Muslim community, because it's everywhere. And the other thing that I have to say is people also give birth to children outside of polygamy and don't look after them. So polygamy has its issues, but you know, there's so many social issues,
deeper than that.
you know, that are affecting our people. So we have to raise the aspirations of our youth.
So the symposium.
Yes, the symposium is all about raising aspirations and then fostering excellence, because we found that even this is something that I can say, perception is reality, but sometimes it stems from truth. That in the Islamic community, there's this mediocrity, and it's time for us to raise our aspirations
Yeah, I
and
think
to be
that's a
excellent in what we
key
do.
angle, the
Fantastic.
mediocrity.
Yes.
But
There's a tweet for
Yes, go ahead.
Zara. Deta Momodu says, I am proud of you. May Almighty Allah bless and guide you in all your endeavors, Zara. You are sound.
And Titus says, Zara, such an amazing young woman there. This is what education can do. I pray and hope others are learning. Somebody also says, okay, same thing.
I think one thing we also learned is that behind, which is what who has always preached about parenting and family, raising children in the right atmosphere, regardless of where you are, where you're from, what your background
culture,
is,
or religion.
whatever. Once you have parents who support you, who are there for you, and I like the fact that your parents made you read books at that young age. That's inspiring to a lot of people out there, saying getting children, get them to think right, very young and very early, so that as they grow up, they can reap the benefits.
So even if you decide at 16 that you want to marry, you're doing
You're
it from
mature
an
enough
informed place.
position, yes.
But then, please, even this whole marriage issue, because you have 16-year-olds following sugar daddies, what are we doing about that? There's deep social issues around these issues, and you know, marriage is meant to be there to protect against these things. You see a lot of irresponsible men donating children, you know, about the place.
Let's all follow the
It's
emir.
so
Try
true.
to solve the ills in your society like the emir is doing.
Yes,
Help
and
us.
everyone has
We
their
have
part.
us
That's the other
problems
thing.
down
Everyone
south.
has been blessed with unique talents, and in your own way, through your own talent, you can make a positive
Great
difference.
stuff. Thank you very much, Zara.
Thank you.
It was great having you on the show today. We hope to have you some other time.
Yes, I would love to be back.
Okay, that's all we can take on the show today. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.